When I stood up at the Cedar Falls City Council meeting, everyone in the 2,800-person town recognized me. When I said I'm Bobby Morrison, the kid you kicked out 25 years ago, there was silence. But the documents in my hand were powerful enough to turn that silence into chaos. My name is Robert Morrison, but everyone calls me Bobby. I'm 48 years old, and 25 years ago I was forced to leave the town of Cedar Falls, Oregon. Now I had returned as the owner of a successful technology company. But not just for nostalgia, for revenge. Cedar Falls was a typical American town of 2,800 people, nestled in the foothills of the Cascade Mountains. Main Street, small shops, a place where everyone knew everyone. But like every small town, Cedar Falls had its dark secrets, and at the center of these secrets was the Thornfield family. The Thornfield family had been known as the town's most powerful family for 100 years. William Thornfield was one of the town's founders. Now his granddaughter Patricia Thornfield was the town's mayor. Her brother Judge Marcus Thornfield was the district judge. Another brother, Daniel Thornfield, owned the town's largest bank. My story began 25 years ago. In 1999, I was a 23-year-old aspiring journalist. I was an intern at Cedar Falls Weekly. I covered small-town news, followed local events, until I found those documents. It all started when I was researching in the town archives. I was examining old files from the 1950s. That's when I noticed something. The documents about the town's founding funds didn't add up. Federal aid money, state grants, millions of dollars were missing. When I investigated deeper, I discovered the shocking truth. The Thornfield family had been embezzling every federal dollar that came to the town for 50 years. School renovation funds, infrastructure grants, social assistance money, everything went into the Thornfield family's pockets. I started writing the story. Cedar Falls missing millions, the Thornfield family and 50 years of corruption. But when I took my article to editor Jane Patterson, I was shocked. "Bobby, we can't publish this story," Jane said. "Why?" I asked. "This is the biggest scandal in town history." "Because the Thornfield family is the main sponsor of this newspaper," Jane said. "And besides, you can't prove these allegations." But I had found the evidence. Bank records, fake invoices, everything was there. Jane's real reason was something else: fear. That evening when I got home, my father, Tom Morrison, was waiting for me in the garden. His face was tense. "Bobby, son, we need to talk," he said. "What happened, Dad?" "Judge Marcus Thornfield came to the bank today," my father said. "He talked about our house loan. If you publish that story, we could lose the house." My heart sank. The Thornfield family was threatening my father. "Dad, they're scared of you," I said. "This proves we know the truth." "Bobby, we're poor people," my father said. "We can't fight the Thornfields. You dropped that story." But I didn't drop it. I secretly sent the story to the Portland Observer. The big city newspaper loved the story. They even decided to send a reporter to Cedar Falls to investigate, but nothing went as planned. One night, driving home, I noticed a pickup truck following me. It was tailing me. I sped up, it sped up. Then the pickup truck hit me. My car went off the road and crashed into a tree. I woke up in the hospital with Sheriff Pete Wilson standing beside me. "Bobby, you're lucky," he said. "Mild concussion and a few broken bones. But it could have been worse." "Sheriff, someone was following me," I said. "They hit me intentionally." "Bobby, you're tired," Wilson said. "According to the accident report, you lost control. Alcohol test came back positive." "That's impossible," I said. "I didn't drink anything." But no one believed me. The Thornfield family had manipulated everything. Sheriff Wilson was their man. When I got out of the hospital, an even bigger shock awaited me. The Portland Observer editor had called. "Mr. Morrison, we've decided to cancel your story," he said. "Insufficient evidence." I understood that the Thornfield family had reached Portland too. Money talked, truth was silenced. Then I lost my job. Jane Patterson called me and said, "Bobby, I have to fire you. There are too many rumors about you in town." "What rumors?" "Alcohol problems, unreliable journalist, fake news reporter." The Thornfield family was systematically destroying my reputation. The biggest blow came from my father's bank. "Son, they canceled our house loan," he said, crying. "We're losing the house we've been paying for 30 years. Daniel Thornfield's bank had canceled my father's loan. Reason: financial reliability issues, lies. My father had been making regular payments for 30 years. That night our family gathered. Mom, Dad, my sister Emily. Everyone was crying. "Bobby, we can't live in this town anymore," my mother said. "Everyone has turned against us." She was right. No one in town would talk to us. At the market, at the post office, at church. People would turn their heads when they saw us. The Thornfield family had declared us persona non grata in town. "We have to move," my father said. "We can go to Uncle's place in California." "Dad, if we run, they win," I said. "Bobby, they've already won," my father said bitterly. 2 weeks later, we left Cedar Falls, leaving behind our 25-year life. As I looked at the town for the last time, I swore. One day I would return, and the Thornfield family would pay the price. Building a new life in California wasn't easy, but I was determined. I learned computer programming. I started a startup during the dot-com boom. In 2005, I sold my company to a big tech giant for $50 million. In 2010, I founded my own company, Morrison Technologies, cloud computing, data analysis. By 2020, the company was worth $300 million. Now I was powerful as the Thornfields. But my real power was something else. For 25 years, I hadn't forgotten Cedar Falls. I had been following it. I had recorded every move of the Thornfield family, and now I had 25 years of corruption files in my hands. In 2024, I made the decision. It was time to return. The day I returned to Cedar Falls, nothing had changed. Same main street, same shops, same people. But I had changed. I was no longer the scared 23-year-old intern. I was a 48-year-old, powerful, determined businessman. My first stop was Cedar Falls Weekly. Jane Patterson was still the editor. She was surprised to see me. "Bobby Morrison, seeing you here, surprising." "Jane, I brought you a story," I said. "The story you didn't publish 25 years ago." "Bobby, don't stir up the past," she said. "The Thornfield family is still powerful." "Jane, now I'm powerful too," I said with a smile. That evening, while eating at Miller's Diner, Patricia Thornfield approached my table. Our first encounter after 25 years. She was still trying to look powerful, but there was fear in her eyes. "Bobby Morrison," she said coldly. "It's been a very long time." "Patricia, it really has," I said. "You became mayor too. Congratulations." "Bobby, what are you doing here?" she asked directly. "Looking for a house, Patricia," I said. "A place to spend my retirement. Cedar Falls is very peaceful." "There's no place for you in this town, Bobby," she said. "You left 25 years ago. Stay that way." "Patricia, I'm an American citizen," I said. "I can live wherever I want." Patricia was angry but couldn't say anything. She got up and left, but I knew this was just the beginning. The next day there was a city council meeting. It was open to public participation. I participated too. After 25 years, I faced the people of Cedar Falls. The small hall of the municipal building was full. Patricia Thornfield was presiding. Marcus Thornfield was sitting in the corner. Daniel Thornfield was in the back row. The entire Thornfield family was here. The agenda items were boring. Park renovation, traffic lights, routine business. Then Patricia said, "Does anyone else want to speak?" That's when I stood up. The hall fell silent. Everyone in the 80-person meeting recognized me. The elderly remembered 25 years ago. The young had heard the stories. "I'm Bobby Morrison," I said as I walked to the podium with the microphone. "The kid you kicked out 25 years ago." Patricia's face turned white. "Mr. Morrison, this meeting is for town business," she said. "Patricia, I'm going to talk exactly about town business," I said. "About Cedar Falls missing millions." The hall erupted. People were looking at each other, whispering. Marcus Thornfield stood up. "I'm adjourning this meeting," he said. "Marcus, you're a judge, but you're not the mayor here," I said. "Leave the decision to Patricia." Patricia was indecisive. If she adjourned the meeting, she would look guilty. "Continue, Mr. Morrison," she said reluctantly, "but keep the topic limited to town business." "Thank you, Patricia," I said. I took the files out of my bag. "I'm going to show you the money the Thornfield family has stolen from our town for 50 years. The hall was completely silent. People were holding their breath. "In 1975, our town received $2 million from the federal government for school renovation," I said, showing the first document, "but only $400,000 was spent on our schools. Where did the remaining $1.6 million go?" Daniel Thornfield stood up. "This is slander," he said. "We'll see you in court." "Daniel, I'm not finished yet," I said with a smile. 1982 infrastructure grants $3 million, actual spending $800,000. 1995 Social Assistance Funds $1.5 million, amount reaching poor families in town $200,000. With each document I showed, the hall became more silent. People were shocked. They had been deceived for 50 years. In total, the Thornfield family has stolen $12 million from our town. I said, this money was for education, health, infrastructure, but it was spent on the family's luxury lifestyle. Patricia couldn't stand it anymore. Mr. Morrison, these allegations are baseless, she said. Prove it in court. Patricia, I will prove it in court, I said, but first I'll file a complaint with the FBI. Embezzling federal funds is a federal crime. Marcus Thornfield panicked. This meeting is over, he yelled. Marcus, a judge can't end a public meeting, I said. Your constitutional knowledge seems weak. The hall laughed. For the first time, someone had stood strong against the Thornfields. Finally, I said, I'm sending these documents to the FBI Portland office now. I also have a complaint petition ready for the Oregon Attorney General. The people of Cedar Falls deserve to know the truth. As I came down from the podium, applause came. First one person, then two, then the entire hall was standing and applauding. After 25 years, the people of Cedar Falls had learned the truth. After the meeting, Patricia Thornfield approached me. Bobby, you can't win this war, she said. We've been here for 100 years. Patricia, you can stay here for another 100 years, I said, but you'll stay in prison. A week later, FBI agents came to Cedar Falls. The Thornfield family homes were raided. Their banks were seized. Municipal records were taken for examination. Reporters came from Portland. The story was covered in major media. 50-year corruption scandal in Oregon. Small-town big theft. Patricia Thornfield had to resign. Marcus Thornfield was removed from his judge position. Daniel Thornfield's bank was closed. New elections were held in Cedar Falls. I didn't run, but the candidate I supported won. Mary Johnson, elementary school teacher. Honest, clean, connected to the people. The Thornfield family went to court. Patricia got 8 years in prison. Marcus got 12 years. Daniel got 15 years. They were federal crimes, no parole. The stolen $12 million was recovered. The town used this money to build a new school, modernize the hospital, repair roads. After 50 years, the people of Cedar Falls got what they deserved. I decided to stay in Cedar Falls. I opened an office on Main Street, a small branch of Morrison Technologies. I was giving technology education to town youth. 6 months later, Jane Patterson retired. She wanted to sell Cedar Falls Weekly to me. Bobby, you're the person with the real journalist spirit, she said. This newspaper should be yours. I bought the newspaper. I wrote the first editorial myself. Truth comes late, but it always comes. I told the 25-year story, how I was kicked out, how I returned, how I achieved justice. Cedar Falls was now a different town. Transparency, honesty, public participation. The Thornfield tyranny was over. Last week I visited the cemetery. My mother and father had died 5 years ago. They couldn't see the days when I fought against those who kicked us out of Cedar Falls. But standing at their graves, I promised them, Cedar Falls is our home now, forever. 25 years ago I was a kid too scared to stand up at a town meeting. This time when I stood up, I turned that silence into chaos. Because sometimes revenge is simply achieving justice. Everyone in Cedar Falls knows me now, but this time with respect. I'm Bobby Morrison. I was kicked out, but I came back, and I won.